Wonders and Marvels of Spiritual Science, Part 1. 1400 years ago, the Holy Quran had clearly prophesied that Allah will start to show the signs, means ayat, of His omnipotence, both in the external world and in the worlds of souls. Quranic reference 41/53. Thus, without any doubt, we can say that today those signs or wonders and marvels of God are apparent in front of people in the form of material science and its inventions, and now they are going to show their wonders in the world of the soul or the personal world in the form of spiritual science. If the external and material signs of the omnipotent God can be called material signs, His internal and spiritual signs can definitely be called spiritual signs, because even though the external world, the world of souls, and the signs which appear in them all belong to God, yet those signs and that signs will have greater importance and supremacy. Its amazing miracles are going to take place in the personal world because man's rank is more lofty and exalted than the entire universe and existence. The wisdom-filled prophecy of the wise Quran regarding the magnificent manifestation of spiritual signs is with respect to the masses and the majority of people. Otherwise, according to the prophets and perfect men, spiritual science has continued its work from the very beginning of human history, the numerous examples of which are found in the heavenly scriptures. This means that, by virtue of spiritual progress, men can benefit from the great secrets of the Supreme Soul all the time, as Khaja Hafiz says in his famous verse, Faiz-e Ruhul Quddus Arbaz Madad Farmayad, Digaran Ham bi Kunand Anche Masiha mi Kard. Translation: If the grace of the Holy Spirit ever helps again, others too will perform the same miracles as Jesus. Today, if a humble, ordinary person like me discusses the secrets of spiritual science, then you must be sure that blessed age is coming, in which, according to the above-mentioned Quranic prophecy, that special spiritual science is going to be commonly accessible to the masses, so that the world of humanity may truly progress materially, ethically, and spiritually. Indeed, it is as pure and true as pure gold that until the great revolution of spiritual science occurs, the extremely complex problems of the people of the world and their poverty and ignorance cannot come to an end, because it is only spiritual science in which the Sustainer of the world has kept limitless and countless blessings of knowledge. A bright example of it is material science, due to which the world has progressed materially. God, the Great, the Exalted, has actually or potentially subjugated all the things of the heaven and the earth to men. This greatest favor is mentioned in several verses of the Holy Quran. Full attention is drawn to both kinds of external and internal sciences in this divine teaching. I would now like to mention in the following some important and amazing things that have been observed and experienced by an organization. First of all, let us reiterate the well-known dictum that man is not only a personal world, microcosm, but also the unique spiritual museum in God's creation. In this museum of God, there are limitless and countless living and speaking wonders and marvels. Among them, there are living particles which comprise diverse wisdom-filled examples. They can demonstrate not only the amazing example of Gog and Magog and the spiritual army, but also the secrets related to the recognition of the world of particles. Thus, the story of these innumerable small particles that consist of the subtle body and soul is extremely unique and lengthy. It is also necessary to mention that the external and internal senses work together in spiritual science. Therefore, their spiritual training is extremely necessary. Just as a capable person, before being sent into space, undergoes arduous physical exercises before going beyond the pull of gravity of the planet Earth, similarly, extremely strenuous exercise together with going beyond the pull of the sphere of carnality is a dire necessity to experience spiritual science. Otherwise, it is possible for someone to dare to suggest that nothing exists by the name of spiritual science. Another very great and useful experience of the blessed spiritual science is that man's olfactory faculty can attain various fragrances in which there are subtle atomic nutrients as well as spiritual medicines for different diseases. It becomes evident by reflecting well on this experience that the treasure of the quintessence of everything is soul, that is, the color and fragrance of every flower, every fruit, and every medicinal herb are because of soul. Because it is the miracle of the soul that it comes to every flower, fruit, grain, and vegetable together with color, fragrance, and taste. How blessed the demanding conditions of Chilla or 40 days of spiritual exercise are to a yearning dervish, means seeker of spirituality, can be estimated only by the people of wisdom from the following event. In such a time in the past, when I cherished hunger and thirst, the Mu'akkal or guardian angel asked me, "Tell me, through what kind of fragrances would you like to experience subtle spiritual food?" It was requested of him that there was a great need of spiritual wealth to experience certain flowers, fruits, and herbs in their separate fragrances. They were made available instantly. It would not be out of place if this is considered a glad tiding of spiritual science. The personal experience of spiritual science begins to take place specifically in the stage where spiritual death before the physical death or the voluntary death before the compulsory death occurs to the salik or traveler on the spiritual path. The chain of renewal of this death continues for 7 nights and 8 days, so that it may be possible to amply reflect and ponder upon its magnificent miracles, marvels, and wonders. In that state, the salik is filled with the spiritual quintessence of the universe and existence in the form of particles, and his soul is spread in the universe. This is repeated in the above-mentioned duration. 2 matrices are ordained for this purpose. One is the matrix of the macrocosm, and the other, the microcosm, means the personal world, so that the universe may become the great man by being molded in the human matrix, and the human may become the macrocosm by being molded in the cosmic matrix. As Maula Ali has said, وَتَحْسَبُ أَنَّكَ جُرْمٌ صَغِيرٌ وَفِيكَ أَنْتَ وَالْعَالَمُ الْأَكْبَرُ, means, you think that you are a small body while the great cosmos is contained in you. Thus, spiritual science is the greatest gift of God, by which not only is the personal world and the external universe subjugated, but their countless copies are also received by the Salik. At present, the world is facing a very great question concerning UFOs. The question is, what is the reality of UFOs? The answer to this question is as interesting and useful as the question is difficult and important. UFO is a temporary name of the advanced human who comes here from another planet or who lives in this world, because man can be transformed from dense into subtle and fly, and he can also turn into jinn, means invisible creature. God is testing us through this subtle creature. This appearance of this subtle creature also indicates that the time of spiritual science has already arrived. The UFO is also the human who has become an angel in his appropriate time, and by the command of God, his manifestation signifies that time has changed and the spiritual cycle has arrived. Is vegetation not the advanced form of minerals? Is the existence of animal not created from vegetation? Is the human being not the quintessence of animals? Is an angel, due to being invisible, not called jinn? Is it not true that among creatures there is externally a relationship and internally a unity? The collective answer and gist of this is that UFOs in reality are the advanced human beings of other planets whose spiritual science has reached its climax. On the global and international level, ethical law always demands that every country and nation that has progressed should help the underdeveloped ones. Thus, the sacred duty of those who live on other planets is to help those of their brothers who are underdeveloped in spiritual science and to help them to reach the other stars from planet Earth. This will indeed happen by the command of God. Why are these UFOs or flying saucers appearing in the form of spaceships? This is a wisdom-filled indication in which they say, "We are your cosmic ships in which you will be enabled to travel throughout the universe in the future." One strange feature of the grandeur and sovereignty of a king is that sometimes he travels around his country in disguise so that he can come to know whether or not people recognize him by some sign or symbol. Such trials used to take place particularly at night. The night symbolizes ignorance as well as the batin, that is, the inner or esoteric aspect of existence. Similarly, advanced human beings or angels come to this world in the guise of flying saucers to try scholars, scientists, and great nations. An UFO is in fact that supernatural human being who is called Jussai-e-Ibdaiya or astral body. Also, it is that miraculous attire by being transferred into which one feels neither heat nor cold, nor can any kind of weapon harm it. Nasiruddin Nasir Hubbe Ali Hunzai, London, 14th June